So, the squat. It is an extremely important exercise, and what is really important to understand is that it is more than just an exercise. It's a movement that is used in everyday life, it's used in a lot of sports, and you need to master this movement pattern and think of it, it's not just an exercise, it's a movement. Improving your squat is a very important thing to look at. It really helps you to become more mobile and more stable in many areas of your body, and this will help your daily movement in work, in life, in the whole lot. When you really break down the squat into a number of different areas, you see what's important with the squat that can be brought over into your everyday life, your everyday movement, such as core stability, your posture, your foot stability, ankle mobility, knee stability, hip mobility, even shoulder mobility when you go into stuff like an overhead squat. These areas you need to break down and you need to look at them, starting off with your body weight squat, and break these areas down and work on them areas and master them areas in your squat, which will help you be able to just move better and feel better, move better pain-free daily in your life. But what you need to really understand as well is how the body works and how one issue in the body can throw off your whole movement in both your squat and in just your daily movements. So if you work to develop more stability and more mobility in your squat, this will help you to become more mobile and more stable in your everyday movements. You need to develop the understanding of the connection between the body, between the different parts of the body and how they work together. When a mobile joint in the body becomes immobile, it will then affect the stability of the joint above or below it. Think about it like a stiff ankle, an unstable knee, an immobile hip. These could all be connected and they can all link and turn to each other. So 3 kind of areas of the body that you can look at in the squat that are also very important for everyday living is kind of if you look at the foot and the ankle, the knee and the hip. And just how they work in the squat and how to improve how they work in the squat, that will then in turn and just improve how they work in your everyday movement, in your everyday living. So like when you look at the foot, for example, the stability of the foot is very important for the squat and it's very important for your everyday movement. It's a very big foundation for nearly every single functional movement that you will do in the gym. So it is very important to have that stable foot, as well as looking that you need a stable knee and you need a mobile hip as well, and how they can kind of work and turn and how you can improve them. So we're going to start kind of looking at the foot and the ankle and what is important there in terms of getting the stability in the foot. But like when you're looking at in terms of the squat, the kind of main area that you need to understand with the foot is what's called a tripod foot, is where you need to have a good base of support on the foot, where you have basically them 3 points of contact on the foot, like your tripod. So you have number 1 is down by the heel, the second one is up by the first toe, the big toe, and then the third spot is down on the last toe by your little toe there. So that's kind of the 3 points of contact that you want to understand when you are looking at the squat. But there is, like, you can get a lot of issues with the foot, with the ankle and just stiffness. It can happen a lot. So the next bit here is just going to be a quick clip of how to screen for how mobile you are in that area, and then the second bit will just be something to help just mobilize that. So like I was saying there, kind of just looking at the foot and how like the first bit was just a screening of it, so you just get fist or thumb away from the wall, bring your knee towards the wall, and you want to stop just before your heel raises up, and the closer you get to the wall, obviously the better mobility you have in the joint there. So like you want to kind of look, if there is a restriction there could be like, it could be a joint restriction or it could be a soft tissue restriction. So like how you would deal with that is you have your band mobilization, which is the one you've seen there with the band. A very important bit is to make sure that the band is not up around the ankle. You want it down around the foot. That will just get you the best the best development out of that, and then you can bring in stuff like foam rolling, say the calf or the foot, doing your stretching, and then retesting as well after that to just see if you've got better in that area. And after that, you can kind of go up the chain and you can look at the knee, which is a very important one, and it's one that if you do not look at the stability of your knee, it can really lead to injuries. If you are a sports player and you do not work on developing the stability of your knee, it can really lead to injury down the line. An ACL one is a big one that you don't want to get. So it is worth your time in, as well as in the gym, especially if you're a sports athlete, as well as in the gym, as getting your back squats in, to break it down and go back to the basics and work on your body weight squat to get more stability in your ankle, get more stability in your knee, get more mobile in your hip. A big one that can cause issues in the knee is a stiff ankle, or like an issue with the hip in terms of stiff hips, immobile hips. They can really lead to issues with the knee, and you want to have good stability in your knee. So if you're not sure if you have an issue in your knee, break it right down. Go into just like a body weight squat, or go into a pistol squat, which is a single leg squat, and just see how stable you feel in the knee. Do you have any issues? Is it caving way out or way in? Good one there to kind of work on. One there is like you could strengthen your hips to help with that, which is lateral band walks is a good one there that you can have around the ankles. So like the ankle and the knee, as we talked about already, really important ones there to make sure you have good stability in them, and go back to basics and work on them at times. The next one is the hip and the mobility of the hip, and this is a big one that you can get issues from if you have a kind of lifestyle or a job where you're sitting around a lot. It can really lead to stiffness in the hips, and if you are kind of immobile in the hips, this can lead to a lot of issues. It can result in the stability of your knee being lost when you're trying your squat, or it can lead to kind of lower back stiffness, lower back stability, which will result in the rounding of the back, which is not what you want, because you want to get that postural integrity where you're getting a nice good posture throughout the movement of the squat. So what you want to look at is you want to break it down with the hip, and you can look at your bodyweight squat and you can see if you can do a bodyweight squat to full depth with a toe angle relatively straight forward. If you can't do that, there's more likely a problem with hip mobility, and then you need to look at what you can do to resolve that. So you have areas like hip mobilization, you can look at foam rolling, you can look at stretching. There's a lot of different areas you can do at. So they are three kind of areas to look at a starting point to help get better at the movement of the squat. Your ankle stability work, your knee stability work, and your hip mobility work, and how they will in turn link up with each other and help each other and allow you to be able to perform a good bodyweight squat, which then you can develop on. A big thing then that you're going to want to do with your squat is obviously to progress on from it and work better and build all the way up to a full barbell squat. But working on them areas for your bodyweight squat and mastering the bodyweight squat by becoming more stable and mobile in the areas we've already talked about, that is this really good starting point. But even if you've, like I said already, if you've been training and doing barbell work with the squat, there's no problem in taking a session and going back and working on the basics again and getting even better and more stable and more mobile in your bodyweight squat. But what is kind of the next areas to look at to build up? And so one is simply, you can bring weight into it without going into a full barbell squat. You can do what's called a goblet squat, which is pretty much just squatting, holding a kettlebell or a dumbbell or a plate, whichever you want, whichever's more comfortable. You can down build it up and look at doing like a box squat, which is where you just have like a box behind you or a step behind you, and you're going down, squatting down as far as the box, and then you're working on just exploding up and getting that explosive movement coming in and out of the squat. You can do some plyometric work in your squat, so like a jump squat. But then you want to build up essentially two doing a barbell squat, either back squat or front squat. But there is before you get to that area, there's other areas of stability and mobility that you do need to work at. Core stability is a really big one. You need to have that stability to be able to control and hold that bar. You need to look at your breathing. You need to look at kind of shoulder mobility, be able to get, especially if you're doing a front squat and you want to get up into that position holding the bar, you need to have good mobility in your upper body, in your shoulders. So there's these different areas there to look at to progress. But obviously the big thing is you want to be able to progress on. So you want to get at that standpoint where you're doing a body weight squat, but if you cannot get a good body weight squat where you're getting a good tripod position in your foot, where you're getting nice good posture, and where you're getting good depth without your knees caving in, well, that's what you need to work on, and you need to master that body weight squat first. Then develop up and go into a goblet squat, look to master that. You can try some jump squats or some box squats to get used to getting the body into that explosive movement, and then you build up into a barbell squat. Lightweight to start off with. It can be just the bar, and you can work on that movement pattern and then build it up and up and up and get stronger at it and get better at it. But like I've been saying, don't be afraid to then refer back and go back to the basics, making sure you still have that stability and mobility throughout the body in your ankle, knee, hip, core, shoulders. Hope you got something out of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, just send me a direct message and leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought.